Hey everybody, I hope you are having a fantastic day. I want to talk about a bunch of things today, including releasing the paradigm of a value-driven right and wrong system, and also embracing your imperfections. And that all really fits together. So, I think a lot of us would agree that this is changing right now, but that in recent years, in America at least, our society and our culture has seemed and appeared to be very surface level, very looks driven, very much about reputation, about going to school and getting a diploma or a certificate, about being awarded for your outward appearance. Things are very based on that system. And not only that, but very much based on the idea of perfection and really being afraid of imperfection, but not just being afraid of it, but really needing to banish the idea of imperfection. You see this everywhere, and particularly in the prison system. Somebody's imperfect, you shove them away, get them out of here, push them away so nobody has to look at them. Now, I really think that part of Earth's healing process with all of us, all of our human being souls here, and every soul is really going to be embracing our imperfections. So that goes back into this idea. So if you are living a fear-based existence, you are going to welcome systems into your life that keep you safe, that protect you from yourself. This is coming from a place of not trusting yourself. This is coming from a place of shying away from your own power. And when you look at it that way, you can kind of see how those basic feelings and ideas that we have can actually create the systems that we have in place. So we're not 100% just subjugated by our governments, by the societal paradigm, by the things that people value. I mean, we're a part of it. I'm not separate from it. It's like I saw this, I don't know where I saw it, but it was some not an advertisement, but it was kind of promoting bicycling, and it was showing a picture of a car in traffic, and it was like, you're not in traffic, you are traffic. And it kind of reminded me of that disassociation game that we like to play, where we like to talk about things really objectively and forget that, like, oh yeah, I'm in that. And that kind of goes back to that idea of imperfection. We all love to sit around and have a bitch fest about something because it's about reinforcing the fact that we are good and we're okay and we're not that. We're not the imperfect ones. That's somebody else. It's something else. So kind of like my first video that I made for YouTube, where I was talking about the fact that, yeah, I'm judgmental. I judge myself and I judge other people, but it's kind of like holding that in the forefront, knowing that, and trying to soften it a little bit, or at least inform the rest of my life. Because I can tell you that the more that I, sat up here and said, I am not judgmental, I'm never judging anybody, I never judge myself, pretty perfect, that would be incredibly suspect. Nobody really believes that. And it would be incredibly harmful to me on a deep level, because I wouldn't be kind of respecting an important part of myself. As I have gone on this journey of spirituality, I have seen the power of the shadow self. This is often brought up in like shamanic traditions. The shadow self is connected to, for me, like the moon cycles, the cycles that the moon goes through, and it's kind of connected to the new moon. I also connect it to the dark side of the moon, because there are certain things that we tend to celebrate more, that are perhaps more active, more masculine, and I think that the things that have mystery create a lot of fear in us, and a lot of those are things about ourselves, and maybe we don't understand why they're there, or we've tried stamping them out so much and they're still there. And I have found that actually they are one of the greatest gifts for softening our ego perspective, helping us to connect to the world around us. So, as an example of kind of, there are times when we want to jump to criticize something right away, right? So somebody comes in, something triggers in us where we just get so annoyed. And right away, our brain starts going off and bitching about them. And it becomes an even stronger thing once we have other people to connect with us on that issue. And we talk about it and we hash it over under the guise of like figuring it out or wanting to work it out. But a lot of it is just that we want to talk about this. We want to create this separation from ourselves and that other person. I mean, that's really what we're doing. We're saying, I am not that, I am not that, I am not that, I am not that. And really, the more that we all look at our own imperfections, it's not really a cause for beating ourselves up anymore, or really for beating one another up. It becomes that thing where you're like, oh yeah, I'm human. And you can kind of move on from there. And it's about connecting. It's about saying, yeah, I make mistakes, you make mistakes, we all make mistakes, and that's okay. It's about like how we go on from there. And I've really learned that sometimes when you're willing to look at the things about yourself that really scare you, it's amazing. It's like, okay, when you're not looking at them, it's kind of like they start wandering off and creating mischief. There's some very mischievous aspects to the shadow self. When you're willing to keep it right there with you and to embrace it, it's like the saying of keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? I mean, not that we should see those aspects of ourselves as enemies, but you do want to stay connected to that. And sometimes if you aren't willing to face up to it, if you aren't willing to look at it and tumble it around in your mind and your heart, sometimes you're going to be confronted with it anyway. Like you're going to do something you thought you would never do, and it'll just come out of nowhere. I mean, this is why a lot of people actually, I feel like, get drunk, is so that they can release their shadow self. And they can be like, it wasn't my fault, I was so wasted. And really, they just want that connection to that part of themselves. And a lot of the time, you're going to find yourself in situations you did not think you were capable of, or you didn't think possible. But if you confront them, if you let them up, and they often come up in a cyclical way, like in a reoccurring way, and if you sit with them and honor that aspect of yourself, what happens is you can almost peek into that like reality tunnel. You can kind of look in there. You can see, okay, if I feed this, here's what will happen. And you can kind of feel the feelings that you don't like. And you can say, ooh, I don't like that. Like, I don't want that. And you can make a deliberate decision that although you honor that side, you don't need to choose it. You don't need to go down that road, basically. That is the most helpful thing I've found about that. So, basically, I just want to encourage everybody to sit with those parts of themselves. Anytime that you want to disassociate from yourself, when you're annoyed about something, let a gentle little quiet voice inside of you kind of say, mm-mm-mm. Have it bring you back to yourself. Let everything be a mirror. Let everything be brought back to yourself. Do it as gently and as lovingly as possible, as much as you can, because it can be kind of a painful process when you view yourself in that stark of a light. But the more that you do this, the happier you will be, the more connected that you will be. And we will not need these systems that we are wanting to cast off right now with our government, with this image-driven consumer culture. It won't exist anymore because we won't be feeding it and we won't be ignoring it. I mean, think about all the politicians, all of the public leaders, all of the spiritual leaders we've expected to be perfect, and we get really angry at them when they're not. And guess what? What if we all just started saying, yeah, we're not perfect, and owning that, and then respecting that, and supporting that as a culture? We would not be having these same situations come up all of the time. So that's just what I want to leave you with. Step into your own power, and if you're interested in doing this and into connecting with others through a heart space, I highly recommend the Tonglen meditation. I will link an article to it down on the info. This is also something Pema Chodron talks about at length and does a fantastic job of explaining and delving into that. So thank you for watching this today, and I hope you are able to embrace those shadow aspects of yourself, to love them, and to do that with all of those around you. So thank you. I hope you have a fantastically wonderful day.